small town promised her. If I lost you in the street, will it remind you who we were?
Hello and welcome to Tunes and Chill. My name's Sam and we're here today at the house of Rowena Wise, a Melbourne-based folk singer-songwriter. And here she is with an upcoming song off a debut album out in August.
My name is Rowena Wise. I am from WA, but I came here 4 years ago to play music, and I'm an indie folk musician, and I'm based here in Brunswick. This is my beautiful kitchen. I live with like 3 other musical housemates, and it's really great. I actually grew up in a musical family band, which kind of infuses my pursuit of music these days, and probably for the rest of my life. I have no choice. But yeah, that's what I do. Growing up in the family band was like such a wonderful experience. We used to drive across the Nullarbor all the time and to go to little folk music festivals in country Victoria, and you know, we went to places like Woodford, and we went to Tasmania a few times, and yeah, we also played in like caravan parks as well, just like I was the youngest of three daughters. There was Lucy Wise, my middle one, and she plays music around Melbourne too. And then Ruth is the eldest. She's based in Perth. And then mum and dad basically gave birth to their own band, which is awesome. Yeah, I was the youngest, and whenever we went on tour, I don't know, I was off always climbing a tree or like rolling around in a muddy puddle or something. I was a bit of a ratbag, you know, but really enjoyed doing the music. But all of that organisational side of stuff was, you know, primarily mum and dad, being mum and dad, and yeah, I guess being a solo musician since then really is a really contrasting experience, because I've got all that family background of just like going along with it and, you know, really having a good time and working hard with the family as a whole, and touring on all the time. And now it's solo. I'm just completely like in control of my own like stuff, and I have to boss myself around, and it's like I've got all these different personalities in the one body, like being the artist and the manager and doing the media side of things and schmoozing, and I don't know what else there is. Trying to do exercise, running for the tram with a guitar case or something. I don't know, it's all jumbled into the one. So yeah, there's definite differences like that. Melbourne, it made so much sense to me coming to Melbourne, moving here, because it's so saturated in music. There's thousands of bands in Melbourne. Some would say it's quite competitive and maybe, you know, a bit of an overstimulus for the music scene, but I think it's wonderful. It's just such a melting pot of all these diverse genres and people and crazy characters, and yeah, it's really nice. I find it really valuable meeting other musicians and getting connections through them, and also playing gigs with other people and just appreciating everything that's out there and just letting it inspire and inform my own kind of frame of experience to write songs from. Yeah. And I feel like I couldn't really stay in Western Australia, you know, like 3 hours south of Perth. Although it's so beautiful and scenic there, Margaret River, where I grew up, it's like, you know, forests and surf, and it's a big tourist industry over there. But yeah, not really happening. There's like one venue in town, the TAV. So yeah, Melbourne, I'm just spoiled for venues in Melbourne to go to and hang out or try and get a gig at. It's just, yeah, it just makes complete sense. I think when you're kind of living in a more like an insular sense, so like if you're living a bit isolated in a town like Margaret River, and you discover bands through the net or through TV or media, radio, whatever, or folk music festivals you go to annually, it's easy to get a lot more obsessive about a particular one song. You have it on repeat, or just, you know, you're walking through the bush and you just have just a collection of artists you really focus on, and that's all well and good, you know. But in Melbourne, lately I find it hard to be more obsessive about particular bands, because there's just so much out there. Yeah, so it's a lot easier to get more obsessive about you know, particular singular, I don't know, entities of music in say Margaret River, but in that's just my experience. It's not like I'm just generalizing, but in Melbourne, like, you know, I can have a new favorite song every week, and everything's the tip of my tongue and my fingertips, tip, and yeah. So it's a lot more. It's daunting how much there is out there here, but yeah, if you just kind of approach all of it with a very level head and, you know, patience and just a love for music, you can hear all of it and appreciate all of it and not be totally overwhelmed. My album's coming out in August, and I'm going to be touring with it around Australia. I wanted to cover one of Joni Mitchell's songs, even though, you know, she's like one of my hero songwriters. I love her stuff. I hope I did it justice. But yeah, that song River, it really rings a bell with me. I grew up listening to her, and that song, you know, it's coming on Christmas. They're cutting down trees It's about how it don't snow here. It stays pretty green. I just love how it's a Christmas song, but it's sort of like an anti-Christmas song, and it's a love song, but it's an anti-love song. It's got all these polarities in it, and also like the snow and the greenery, and I don't know, this doesn't snow in Australia, so it stays pretty green. So I just think that's a really perfectly well constructed, beautiful, heart-wrenching love song, and I wanted to play it. And the ukulele is one of those instruments, you know, it's gathered a lot of popularity in the last decade or whatever, and just wanted to try and apply such a song like River onto this little ukulele instrument and see what came out of it. Writing the album was really fun. It was a collection of songs ever since my late adolescence to nowadays, and yeah, it wouldn't have been happening without the support of the Possible crowdfunding campaign. That was really successful, and gathered a lot of momentum for the project. That was the summer of 2015 in January. So that was like a year and a half ago, maybe. Yeah, and it was a really freeing experience being able to work with a local producer and musician himself, as well as like bringing other people like Liz Frencham. She's great. She's playing double bass on it, and these amazing parts that should be just standing there on their own without any other instrumentation, you know. And also like the girls from the May trio, Maggie and Elsie Rigby, they sing these amazing backup harmonies, as well as Pepita Emmerichs plays mandolin, she's from OPEP. And also Benjamin Talbot Dunn, I do a singing duet with him, he's from Open Swimmer. So all these local bands here and there who are mates with Nick and I and my own mum. The original song I played, my song I played is called City Beat, and it actually relates to a lot that I have been speaking of. It's kind of combining the feel of growing up in a small country town with you know, someone meditating on reflecting on how far they've come since they've moved somewhere else, moved to a city or something. I specifically wrote it after I bumped into an old friend of mine I grew up with in the middle of Melbourne, and we used to know each other so well, and all we could talk about was the weather. It'd been like 7-8 years since we'd seen each other, and I was like, it was really, it was really confusing and disappointing. You know, I probably watched too many films and read too many books, and I thought that some bigger chat would come out of it. But yeah, in hindsight, I wrote that song City Beat, kind of, yeah, thinking about that. I wrote that song as a sort of ode to, hi Melbourne, I'm here, let me do stuff and not be too homesick, within your arms kind of thing. It was actually a love song for someone, but that didn't work out, so it's a love song for Melbourne.
Yeah.
Never break up with a songwriter, you know. Yeah. But that song, recording that song was a real fun thing. Actually, I hope to be touring a lot more around Australia. Of course, I've got something lined up. I'm self-managing at the moment, but I played at the Folk Alliance International Conference in Kansas City back in February, which opened quite a lot of doors and opportunities to play overseas. So I want to play in the States, do a tour of the States in the summertime next year, and maybe whack on a few shows around Europe as well. Maybe just mainly folk festivals, but yeah, quite a lot of international touring, like on the cards, in the way of intention next year, which would be nice. But Melbourne's always going to be my home base.
Yeah.
However far away Australia is from all the wonderful opportunities out there in Europe and the States. But yeah.